your host, Markia Butler. Glad you joined us today at Let Your Love Be Real talk show. I was checking out a TikTok about making friends. The TikToker mentioned they find out what the other person's interests are and then go from there. That's brilliant. Come on, relationships, friendships, any kind of ship. A lot of us don't think that far. How do you make friends? One time I made a friend like this. Disclaimer, I used a cheap eyebrow pencil. Don't judge me. It was my first day at a new job opportunity. Y'all know new jobs. People are reserved, standoffish. They're trying to gauge if you're an asset or a liability. The job was in a kitchen setting. I was prepping sauces and napkins. I all of a sudden got hot and overwhelmed by the amount of customers. So I wiped my forehead with my sleeve. I immediately froze. One of my new coworkers just happened to walk over. I was like, "Hey girl, my eyebrows still there?" She was like, "What?" I repeated, "Are my eyebrows still on my forehead?" She was like, "Yeah, you good?" I was like, "Cool." She was kind to me the rest of the day. She even looked out for me as if I needed anything. Being vulnerable is great when obtaining friends, especially when there is no ill intent. I used a cheap eyebrow pencil that morning and was about to immediately regret that decision. Balancing the artist life in Los Angeles, you may find yourself doing odd jobs. You may be on TaskRabbit painting a bookshelf or grabbing groceries on Instacart or DoorDash. Or you may find yourself driving persons around, meeting all types of interesting people. Well, our next guest has a must-read book called Hauling Hollywood. It's about her wild adventures with rideshares. Without further ado, please welcome a friend I connected with on set in Hollywood through sharing our spirituality, Stacey House. Thank you so much for watching Let Your Love Be Real talk show with Markia Butler. And I have Stacey, Miss Stacey House here. An amazing Stacey, tell us who you are. Tell us about yourself. Where are you from?
Well, I'm originally from Michigan and it's very cold there. And ever since I was 19, I'm 31 now. And I decided, I was like, I gotta go out to California where the surf is, where Hollywood is, and pursue my dreams. And that's exactly what I did. And I'm still here, an actor of 12 years. And I just absolutely love it. And I met Markia and it was just, she's just such a light, and I was just like, I gotta talk to that girl. So, and we found out that we went to the same church, so that was really amazing. So I'm so glad I remember I saw her dancing, and she was dancing too. Do you remember what the song was? The one where it was like, ain't nothing got nothing but King Jesus. Do you know that?
Yeah, you're talking about Ed One Church LA when the whole dance team we performed to that song. Okay. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And that's where I first saw you, and I didn't know you, and I was just like, that is just so cool. Yeah. So I love acting because you can become a character that, you don't necessarily get to be in real life. You might get to be a nurse, or you might get to be like a clown or just whatever. And it's just so fun to kind of escape reality sometimes and just be like, okay, Stacey's cool, but I get to be somebody else today. I don't know if you ever feel that way.
Is that why you became an actor? Because you get to be different characters, or what else inspired you?
I think that I like to make people laugh. I think that it's just, I feel like laughing is very healing. And when I laugh or I make other people laugh, I just kind of I grew up watching, I don't know if you remember All That, the improv show. Yeah. Yeah. And me and my sister would just like make up stupid shows and improv. And it was just like, when you're a kid, you're like, oh, if I could just do that, like, and just make people laugh. And it's just, and then I just like kept doing it.
Is there like a certain show on all that you remember? Like, is there something that stick out to you, like a favorite say or quote? What was it?
Well, I definitely was all into Keenan and Kel. Like, I was and I luckily like it was like a dream from God because I got on this commercial where Keenan and Kel had grown up, but I got to it was a commercial for I forget what it was for, but they were in the commercial and I was like, so I got to be on set with them and I was like, this is so cool. Like I don't even care. Like
Oh,
so yeah, and also there was so many good characters. There was like Mary Beth. I can't even remember all their names, but they were just I
man,
mean,
it
yeah.
was a lot.
Yeah.
But that those were like the classics, and I definitely can relate to the acting world and like just looking up to like a show like all that because it was fantastic. It kept us laughing, it kept us entertained. Like, yeah, we were so innocent in the
Yeah.
90s.
Yeah. Yeah, I think my parents were like, "What are they doing in there?" They're just like using funny voices, and they're just like, "I don't know what's going on TV."
But you know,
So,
I do want to ask, like, do you have a specific type of maybe like actor you would like to be? Like, what is your type or your dream role, I was so to speak?
yeah, I would say, you know, anything to do with comedy. I don't necessarily see myself on Saturday Night Live, but like that would be ideal. But like it, just anything like an Anna Faris. She's just like a unique like no other actors like her. She's just like her own character. I
Mhm.
mean, obviously, like, there's a lot of people that are like that, but, I just think she's unique. I don't know.
So my next
Yeah.
is how has your spirituality impacted your acting life?
Oh, it has been a huge impact, actually. It's actually, I would say the last 3 years ago, I did come into some like roadblocks with that because sometimes your agent and manager doesn't necessarily it's not necessarily your faith, but it could be your character. They don't understand like maybe your message or like what you want to represent, and so that can be a roadblock sometimes if you have a agent or manager who doesn't understand what you represent. And I came across that and it just it did become a roadblock. So I think right now I want to focus on maybe getting like a Christian agent. It's a little hard in LA because it's like not very common, but I mean I believe God can do anything, so I'm just praying for that.
From your mouth
Yeah.
to his ears, like I'm sure there are Christian related agencies. So you definitely touched on having a type that you see yourself as, and when your managers and agents see you and they don't see that. And could you just talk about how you do have that preference as an individual, as a person, that you don't have to take everything that's given to you? If you're like, hey, that's not me. And I'll give a small example, something recently that happened to me. Talking from actor to actor, because you help friends with projects. And so a friend had a project and was like, hey, you're going to be the person that does A, B, C, and D. And I'm like, that character wouldn't work for you. And like, I would love to help you. Is there other characters? Because that character wouldn't work. So how's that happened to you? Or could you just talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, that's a huge thing. I would say not every door that's open is the door for you. And I think a lot of times we're like, oh, this is an opportunity. This is what I'm supposed to walk through. But the thing is, if you walk through a door that you don't pray about, you could be going down the wrong direction. So you want not everything, even with friendships, even with jobs, not every opportunity is your opportunity. And you got to go with your gut feeling of what maybe your head knowledge says, yeah, this is great. Everything about this is 100, but your gut's like, this isn't me, man. And ever since I like started following that, I follow it every time, even with like agents and things. Cause I mean, I've even had like God warn me about certain agents and stuff like, do not go to this agent, do not do that. And it's just like, okay, I'm just going to listen because I've learned the hard way. So it's just listening. Listening is super like one of those things we don't really want to do because we're like, I can do this, I can do that. Da, da, da. It's like, but then you can save yourself time. You can save yourself a lot of time.
Girl, you just dropping gems and teaching over here on time and just avoiding certain things you don't have to deal with and learning from other people. So I do want to switch gears here and please tell me what exactly is hauling Hollywood?
Well, I got the book here. This is the cover. It's like a little out there, but I started driving Uber and Lyft because, as you know, with like acting, some days you're not working, and I got really frustrated with having to just abruptly stop work for an audition, and I was like, oh, this is so like stressful. I don't want to lose my side job, but I don't want to lose my career. So I was just like, I got to find something that I can just like turn it off. So it was cool with Uber because you can just literally be like, oh, I can stop working now. And so even though it was like an intense, crazy experience because there's like strangers in your car, I just kept getting like all these ridiculous stories that I was like, I have to write all these adventures down and all these people that I'm meeting that it's just every day is something new. Like,
Get into exactly like me because I do want to hear a couple stories. How, what led you to writing a book, and how was it being a first time author?
oh, my friend, he's also an actor. His name's Jesse Daly. He wrote his first book and he told me, Stacey, just write a sentence a day. Don't get overwhelmed. Just like a sentence will turn into a paragraph will turn into a chapter. And then once you get like your full manuscript, you can just like hire an editor and it's not as hard as you think. I think sometimes we're like, oh man, I'm just overwhelmed. I got to do this and do that. And it's like, it's really just about enjoying what you're doing and like the rest will come. The rest will come. And God is the author and finisher of your faith. And he's writing your story and as well as your book. So
Talk to us. Talk to us. You hear me? So, that being said, what obstacles did you face completing your book?
oh man, girl. Well, I ain't gonna say there's no obstacles, but well, what happened is with the editor, I had gotten into a situation where I didn't do enough research on the editor. So I want to say if you're writing a book and you do want to go the self-publishing route, hiring an editor is like really like you need to do your research because with me, these people, they kept asking me for more money and we already had like a set price. So I was like, no, I'm not giving you more money. No, I'm not giving you more money. And it was like, this was in our contract. So you need to like make sure that whoever you're working with also understands your book because sometimes they might see a sentence that they want to like help you re-edit to make it maybe sound better, but then also you don't want them to change what you're trying to say. So it is structured, but you don't want to lose that message. So so do your research.
Because it's not easy out here, and there's so many people readily available to help, but it's like, are you the right help?
Yeah. And also like, do your research for, you may want to go the publishing route. If you have a good social media following, you may just want to go self-publishing because you can market yourself easily. But if you think it's like your route to go like with a publisher, they'll do the marketing for you. You're just going to make less, but they're going to mass market. So it just depends, like, if you know your audience, so to speak.
That part, that's so huge about knowing your audience. So huge for those who are helping you with your book to know you, so that, or at least have an idea of who you are, so it can flow a lot better. And so with that being said, I want to ask, do you have any advice for those who are actors and who need to be encouraged as far as multiple streams of income?
That's really, see, that's the part where I think there's a verse that says, throw your bread on the water because you don't know how it's going to come back to you. And I always think of certain, like even Will Smith, he was a rapper before he was an actor. So he didn't know that acting was going to be the thing that put him on stage. So we think like, I have this talent, but we don't really know our other talents. Like we say, oh yeah, I have that, like, like little skill, but like you never know. Maybe that's the thing that's going to like catapult you. So I wouldn't like get rid of, if you have any talent whatsoever, just like put it out there and put it to use and see what happens. Cause you don't know how your money's going to come. Like, if you feel in your heart and soul like, hey, I should do stocks, or that would like help me get into a side income, or like let me investigate this, just keep investigating where your multiple streams of income could come in. And it's about not wasting time, because time is important. And what I've learned in this season of like COVID and everything is time is where we grow in the secret place with God. And that's what it's all about. So we need time to have time for God. So
Girl, you better make me pull a circle around this little chair. Come on, talk about, let's sit in that space right there, and let's talk about your spiritual journey just slightly, and like your preparation, and what does that look like? Maybe is it like all, how you seek God, or like, what you're doing, like, talk to us.
well, I've always been like I've ever since I was little, I've just always been kind of obsessed with God. But really, until I turned 25, I was like, I need to go deeper. Like I'm like you're like a baby in the spirit. Then you're a kid, then you're an adult, then you're an old person. That's how you grow. And I'm like, I just didn't feel like I was like growing. And with acting, it's like you have this extra time, and I was like, well, I'm not like utilizing my time with God. I, if he's the one person that can put you on stage, he's gonna do it. Cause the Bible says he doesn't put you under a bucket. He wants you to be a light to people. So he wants you to get in that place where you can stage. Cause at the end of the day, it's not about us. It's about God. So we just gotta be at the right place at the right time for when it happens, and
You got to
yeah.
be ready for what you ask for. And, a lot of people could be chasing fame, chasing money, could be chasing whatever they're chasing. But it's like, what at the end of the day is going to be valuable to you and your journey of what you're chasing. And so knowing
Yeah.
at the forefront, so after you've reached your goal, what next? Like, is there something
Yeah.
near you? Because there are people that do get to the top of our industry and just be like, okay, I'm here. And then they spiral down. And it was like,
Well, also, like, even if you're not, a Christian, you're going to have persecution for being at the top because, people idolize you, and if you don't fit a certain standard, and you're not going to for everyone, it's going to be hard. You gotta like develop those muscles of thick skin, because people are going to say things about you no matter what, and you gotta be like really hard, like 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 protection around yourself, because people are gonna say what they want to say about you, and it's gonna be hard. So you just got to prepare yourself for that.
Learning is a grooming process and it's a nurturing process. And so
Hmm.
it's like as we mature, we gain certain tools on our belt to be able to handle certain things. And so that's what it's sounding like you just, and it doesn't matter who what you serve, you just, the life is a journey. And, you just got to keep going and it's going to hurt, it's going to sting. But there are some things that are worth it. And
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
your story's already written.
Yes. Yes.
That part.
I love it.
That was pretty much the question that I wanted to ask in regards to spirituality. But where can we find your book? Like, give us some information about your book.
Yeah, so right now I'm on Amazon, and there's a few other, if you Google Holly Hollywood or just go on Amazon, there's a couple other extra distributors that do it online, but I would probably just go through Amazon because it's like, simple and cheap to do it that way. But yeah, I think it right now it's $11.99 for the paperback, and I'm only charging like $5 for the ebook. So I'm working on the audio book right now, so that's what will be next. But
Please,
yeah, I'm just
would you
making it available. So
okay, would you please share a couple stories of what we can expect from the book? Just a couple little anecdotes that stick out and you're like, guys, you wouldn't believe what happened.
well, the first story that I usually tell people is, it goes from a man doing coke in my front seat to like picking up prostitutes to like anything you could possibly think of. I had a nun in the car. Like I had like an Ethiopian priest. Like I just have really funny stories of where I tend to like sometimes not think before I talk. And it's so funny because I had a nun in the car and she was like, are you married? And I was like, no, are you? And she's like, I'm not married. I took a vow. So it's just like, I just have funny stories where I'm like, oh man, like,
This is a must read book. Please find Hollywood. It's oh, by Stacey House. Like, oh my Googles, girl, this looks at juicy.
it is
I'm
juicy.
excited to read it. Look, I'm excited to read it. So thank you so much for being on Let Your Love Be Real talk show. Oh my
Thank you.
God. Thank you so much, and you have an amazing day. Oh, thank you for that fun interview. I'm excited to read Stacey Howe's experience as a rideshare driver with her book, Hauling Hollywood, found on Amazon. Grab your copy today. Thank you, McKinley and Barbara, for supporting our GoFundMe campaign. We also have a Kickstarter and an Indiegogo. We all have goals, but they don't work unless we do. I am your host, Markia Butler. Remember, love is the breath you breathe. So, let your love be real.